reaction in a Fox Business exclusive is Tennessee Congressman and House Ways and Means Committee member David Kustoff. Congressman, let's begin with what happens now? Where do we go from here?
Well, good afternoon. Thank you for having me on. Look, this is a big, comprehensive bill. The committees have been very active this week. Obviously, the Budget Committee took that vote today. They'll have time over the next 2 days to try to iron out the kinks so that they can put together all the committee's work and make it into one big bill. So ultimately, and hopefully, we can vote on this next week on the floor of the House of Representatives. You know, when you talk about the changes that are being made in terms of spending and saving and really ultimately trying to better everybody in this economy, it's a process that takes a lot of work, a lot of thought, and ultimately there are 435 people that have a say in it. So in the end, I think we will get there. But until we do, Ashley, it'll likely be messy, like we've seen over the last couple of days.
Yeah, and you know, it seems to me there's a bit of a standoff here, Congressman, between the hardliners who want to cut more spending with an eye to the, to the debt, while the more moderate Republicans are a little more fearful of deeper cuts because they worry about their seats in the midterms. How do you resolve that?
Well, you've got to find a place where everybody can meet. And where I come back to on the tax side, what we're looking at doing is reducing taxes for everybody at all income levels and making sure that small businesses can have a 23% deduction, which will help them hire more employees and invest more in their businesses. So in the end, we've got to find the happy medium, and there are a lot of issues that have to be worked through. But look, in the end, we're going to get there, and this is what President Trump campaigned on in 2024. And ultimately, I predict for many people serving in the House of Representatives, this will be the most substantive vote that they take in their career. And ultimately, this is going to be part of President Donald Trump's legacy.
And I understand the desire for those tax cuts, but what about the federal deficit, Congressman? It's going up and up and up. Is that a huge concern? It has to be.
Well, it is. Look, it's a concern, not only the deficit, but the debt. But the fact of the matter is, if we fail to enact these tax cuts, it would be, in my state of Tennessee, a 26% increase for the average Tennessee family. And that would be devastating. Failure to enact these tax cuts would be detrimental to our national economy and ultimately to the global economy. So we've got to find that balance. And you know, you've talked about some of the savings, whether it be the cap on what's known as SALT, state and local taxes, the savings from Medicaid, the savings from fraud and abuse. We'll get there. It's just making sure that we find that happy medium for all of those Republican members.
You mentioned Medicaid. I think one of the hang-ups is the fact that those people affected by the new regulations, you know, as far as working, able-bodied people on Medicaid, it doesn't take effect for a number of years, and that is a real sticking point. Can that be resolved?
I think it can, and obviously you saw that in the debate today in the Rules Committee. A lot of my constituents say, look, why would we be waiting until 2029 to implement something that is pretty simple and easy to understand? And I think most people agree with not having able-bodied people take advantage of these benefits. And I don't think it matters whether you're Republican, Democrat, or independent. So let's go ahead and start those earlier. Let's get more savings on the board, and let's go ahead and have that vote next week in the House of Representatives.
Well, the president on his way back, and he's pretty effective in getting his message across. He accused those of holding it up, Congressman, of being grandstanders. I think it was one of the lawmakers said, "Look, it's not about grandstanding; it's not wanting to give the farm away." Can President Trump round them all up together and get them on the same page?
You know, President Trump was very convincing to the American people in 2024, which is the reason that he got such a resounding vote and won all of those swing states. And we've seen, there have been several times this year where we've had tough, contentious votes in the House of Representatives. It's taken President Trump to get involved, talk to these members, and ultimately get them to yes. And I suspect that when we have that vote next week, there may be one or two or some members that President Trump will have to talk directly to. But in the end, this is too important to the American people not to get done. So with President Trump and Speaker Mike Johnson and leaders Steve Scalise and me and other members, we just need to get everybody to yes so that we can get what is so consequential to the American people enacted and voted on the House floor.
One big, beautiful bill. Sounds great. Maybe not quite so easy in theory, in reality. But Congressman David Kustoff, thank you so much, sir, for joining us on this Friday. We do appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.